completely forgot about you. We have to schmooze up here. Yeah, why? Oh, because I wasn't in shul. All
for regular people in school. Politics.
You're already 3 minutes down live.
All right, we're live.
Yeah.
For real?
Yeah.
Okay, so then if we're live, we gotta go. Today's Daf Ayin Ches. G'tvach.
Daf Ayin Ches. Rock.
Whatever. Okay. Yes. So we're going to start from Ayin Zayin on the base on the bottom. The last few words. Omamar. Talmud loimer tiyeno. It says in the pasuk tiyeno, and that's where we're discussing the lachmi toido, and we're talking about the 10 lechomim of chometz. How do you know that it's 10? So the Gemara says tiyeno. I'm going to steal this chart from later on. It says. The whole word is extra. It should say soiles chometz. What's tiyena? The whole word is extra, but in the word itself there's an extra yud underlined in red in the underline of blue. It's a double underline, and then from this yud we see 10. Pashat 10. So it has to be 10. How much is each one? 10 breads, okay, 10 chametz, but how much does each one weigh? So that we're going to see soon. It says the Gemara, my Talmudah, where do we find this? It says tiyeno with 2 yuds. In fact, the Gemara, Eima asoro kefizi. But who told you that 10 is a sroinim? Maybe it's 10, half a kav. Where did you get the shear from? So now, do I have this? Yeah. In this pasuk, which is not even talking about toides, talking about shtei lechem. In this pasuk, it's mentioned esroinim, also in blue. So since it says esroinim, we're talking about esroinim. The measurement mentioned in the pasuk is esroinim. So Mamela, the yud that tells us 10, it's also referring to esroinim. Oh, now we have a cameraman. It goes in, it goes out. Fine, shema. But I think that's a little bit too close, no? Beseder. Lamadnu asoro lechometz. So this is all good for the 10 breads of chometz. Asoro lematzah minayin. Talmud loymar al chalois lechem chometz keneged chometz hovei matzo al chalois lechem. Let's see if I have some chart here. I thought I made it. Al chometz. Al chometz. No, that's not it. Okay. Al chalois lechem chometz. So since there's a pasuk that says chalois lechem chometz, keneged chometz hovei matzo, so we have chometz and chalois. We have in the same pasuk lechem and chometz and matzah. So therefore, whatever the chometz is, which is 10, matzah is also 10. As the Gemara, v'chidovar alamed behekesh, choyzer melamed behekesh. That we already learned in Zvachim. That once you learn something out of a hekesh, you can't learn another thing from it. Says the Gemara, heimenu v'dova acheru v'chol heimenu v'dova acheru lehavi hekesh. In Zvachim, and that I made a chart. In Zvachim we had this also, this Gemara. It goes like this. There's 2 limudim here. There's 2 limudim. Limud number 1 is, how many breads are there? How many breads are there? That we learned out from Xeris Shava, from Truma. It says Truma, and it says, by Toida it says Truma, and by Truma it says Truma, obviously. By Truma we know it's 1 out of 10, so it's 10. So maybe that's how we know how many breads. How much a bread is, that we learned out of a hekesh from Shtei HaLechem. So since it's a combination of 2 things, so a combination of 2 things you could continue learning out. By the way, this top thing, Zer Shav, is actually almost like it says it a limud by itself. I'll call upon him again. If it was just a hekesh, I'm learning out just a hekesh, and that's our whole limud. So if I just have a hekesh, I cannot learn out from a hekesh something else. In Kachim, that is. By the way, what are you doing? You're zooming in? You're able to zoom in. It's a Motzei Shabbos kind of video. Me and Gary trying to figure out if we go to the TV screen, how could people see on YouTube what everybody's seeing on the TV screen? There must be a way where there's like a little box or something pops up.
Yeah, the way.
There's a way. Just need to-
Yeah, you figure it out? Okay. Again, Nachamol. There's a halacha in Zvachim. Let's go again. Halacha in Zvachim says that if in Kachim only we learn halacha out of a hekesh, I can no longer take that halacha and learn it to. Says the Gemara, it's that right. It's the hekesh to hekesh. You can't do hekesh to hekesh in Kachim, and we're talking about Kachim. Taida. Says the Gemara, but this is different. Once what we're trying to learn here is 10 breads made out of an isaroin, so that's considered a gzeir shava plus a hekesh. It's two things, and therefore I could continue learning it out. Notice that all the charts are on the first 5 lines, and it's like Ahmed Beis. It's just smooth sailing without any charts. Says the Gemara, that's good if you have two things, it's not considered a hekesh. But if I do consider it a hekesh, I can't learn a hekesh from a hekesh, so what do I do? Taviu ribuyi. In the pasuk it says, Taviu, go back to this thing. Does it say here? No. Yeah, it does. And it's in blue. Oh, I remembered to make it blue. I could just go like this, Avi. It's a lot easier. Taviu, in the top of the pasuk, and it's extra. So this is a limud. It's as if it says in the pasuk itself that a toida gets 10 lechamim that are 10, that are yisar in each. The taviu would say like with the taviu, which is in this is the pasuk of Shtei Alechem. I learn from here to toida. Fine. Says the Mishnah. If you just tuned in now, we're starting a brand new Mishnah.
Someone just tuned in. Yep.
Really?
Yeah.
Shalom Aleichem, Agutavach. On says the Mishnah, Hamiluim. Now we're going off track for a bit. We're going to come back to Toida. The whole parak basically is discussing a Toida, right? The name of the parak, HaToida Haisabah. So because we're discussing the lechem of the Toida, we're going for a second to the Miluim. The Miluim is all the way in the beginning when they inaugurated the Beis Hamikdash. Hamiluim ayubayim kamatzah shebatoida. The Miluim came like the one part of matzah in the toida. We said a toida is based on chametz and matzah. So if we're going to ignore the chametz and we're just going to go to the matzah, how many types of matzah are there? 3 types of matzah. Chalois, urekikin, urevucha. There's 3 types. So when they brought the Miluim, they also brought them. Now, Naziros, another thing called Naziros. Only 2 out of the 3 breads. Chalois urikikin. What's missing? Ve'en ba revucha. What's a revucha? Like we said, you guys remember what a revucha is? A bagel. Cooked in hot water. Boiled in hot water.
Boiled and then baked and then deep fried.
No, I don't know about the deep fried part. I think you added that.
That's a donut.
Yeah, I said bagel. What? Rikikin is fried. It's fried in the Nintu says the Mishnah Asoro Kaben Yerushalmis. If we just turn the page, go back for a second. Ayin Zayin Omid Aleph. It says in the Mishnah on top of Ayin Zayin Omid Aleph, it says Ubemida Yerushalmis Hoyishloishim Kav. You remember Yerushalmi? In the Yerushalmi measurements, the toida equal 30 kav, 15 for the matzah, 15 for the chametz. So if we're going to give 15 for the matzah, and we're only using 2/3 of the matzah, because we're not doing revucha, we're only doing chalois and rikikin, so 2/3 of 15 equals, says the Mishnah, that's why, nimtzu asara kavim Yerushalmi. Since we start off with 15 really for the matzah, but we're not doing all the matzah, we're only doing chalis and rikikin, and the ein ba revucha, it doesn't have the 3rd one, so memela, you only get, it has to be proportionate to a toida. The nazar has to have the same proportions of flour as the toida. If the toida only had 2 types of matzah, the toida would also only have 10 kav. So, but it has 3 types, so it has 15 kav. And therefore, shein shisha esroinois v'oidam. If you're talking about if the matzah of a toida equals 10 isaroin, so 2/3 of 10 isaroin is 1/3 is 3.3. So 2/3 is 6.6. So says the Mishnah, it's only changed shisha esroinois v'oidon. It's 6 v'oid and a little bit more. Says the Gemara, Menani Mili. How do I know that by the Miluyim you had 3 types of bread? Omer Rav Chizda, Omer Rav Chamo, Bar Gur Yod, Omer Kro, Umisala Matzis Asher Lefnei Hashem, Lokach Chalas Matzo Achas. Okay, so in the pasuk right now I know that there were chalos. Continues the pasuk, V'chalas lechem shemen achas. The Gemara is going to ask, how do you see from this anything that resembles a revucha? It says chalas lechem shemen. It's a bread of oil. Now, according to what you said, maybe that it had a lot of oil afterwards, maybe. V'rokik echad. But it says mefurish in the pasuk rokik, and in the beginning it says chalos. So we have chalos and rikikim. Bishlam chalos, chalos. To know that there's a chala, it says mefurish in the pasuk chala. Rokik, it says mefurish in the pasuk rokik. Shemen maininu. Lav revucha. Now, revucha has more oil, or I should say double the amount of oil as a rokik and a chala. The rikikim and the chalos have together a quarter of a lug, and the revucha himself, 1 min has a quarter of a lug. Again, 2 minim, chalos and rikikin have a quarter of a lug oil together. The 2 minim together, chalos and rikikin, that always go together in one category, they only have together, they have to share a quarter of a lug. A quarter of a lug, let's say, whatever this is, yeah? And revucha by itself, 1 min has a quarter of a lug. So it makes sense that the pasuk says, what's the wording in the pasuk? V'chalas lechem shemen achas. It's very oily because it has double the amount of oil. So now I understand, it's called a revucha. That's why a revucha is called shemen. Says the Gemara, Mascular Rav Avio, Emo Anto de Mishcha. Maybe say it's a cake of oil. A giant glob of oil, like a piece of gala. I don't know, like whatever, like a I don't know, I have no description really, but some disgusting piece of, no, not zucchini, plain oil, congealed oil. Nothing to do with bread, because what does the Torah say? The Torah says, v'chalas lechem shemen, a bread of oil. It doesn't say, mamish gala. Well, gala is not as bad as just plain oil. Imagine like engine oil, like all congealed. Maybe that's what it is.
When it's cold, that's what happens to it.
Yeah. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam she'akol niyeh b'dvaroi. That's what it said, gala, pachah, well, whatever you want. In Israel it's called gala. I should have said it in American. Pachah. Okay. Says Gemara, no. Yeah, it's whatever. Something disgusting. Hello. Says Gemara, okay. So I need a new makar. I need a new source that revucha, that they had a revucha by the miluim. That when the Torah says, what? Hello, to the Dorj of Nachman bar Rav Chizda Mishmei de Rabbi Tablo. Ze korban Aaron uvonov asher yikrivu Hashem b'yoyim yimoshach hoysoi. The problem with this pasuk is, it says this is the korban of Aaron, who's the Kohen Gadol. The pasuk continues saying that he brings a minchas chavitim, like we discussed many times, half in the morning, half in the afternoon. So very good, a Kohen Gadol brings a korban. What's the next words though? Uvonov. What do the sons of a Kohen Gadol have to do with a Kohen Gadol bringing a korban every morning and afternoon? It's a job only for a Kohen Gadol, nothing to do with his children. So it has to be what? No. Every day. Why? But it's not zeh korban. In this korban, what do the sons of Aaron have to do here? It says the Gemara, "Malo levanov b'yoyim yimoshchoi." Elomakish. The Gemara says you have to say that there's some sort of limud going on in this pasuk. Elomakish chinuchoi lihimoshchoi. We're all familiar with the sefer Minchas Chinuch. What does Minchas Chinuch mean? Minchas Chinuch means there's a special mincha that comes on the first day, and only one time in a kohen's life, really, most of the time. When a kohen starts doing avodah for his first time, he brings a minchas chinuch. Okay? So when the Gemara says chinuchoi means the minchas chinuch, lihimoshchoi means the mincha that he brings every day, the kohen gadol brings every day. So there's a hekesh here. Just like every day when a minchas chavitin, he brings a minchas chavitin. What's a minchas chavitin? It's actually a revucha. It's actually like a bagel. It's cooked in oil, in water. Afchinuchoy revucha. So memela, this is how we know. Just like every day the kohen brings a revucha, so too the miluim is a revucha, and therefore what? I'm sorry. That's why every day the chinuch and the and therefore I learn from their miluim. So when you ask me, how do I know that the third bread is a revucha? Is from this hekesh. Omer Av Chizda, Kohen Gadol HaMiskarv LaAvoda Tzorch Shtei Esronos Haifa. When a Kohen Gadol comes on the first day of him being a Kohen Gadol, he has to bring 2 Esronos. Achas Nimosh. One for the Avodah he's about to perform, the daily chavitin that he brings in the morning and the afternoon. He has to split it in half a Yisar in the morning, half a Yisar in the afternoon. Achas, V'achas L'chinuchai. And also has to bring another carbon, the carbon Minchas Chinuch. The Minchas Chinuch is another Yisar. Mar Baravashio, Mar Sholosh. He has to bring 3 Yisroinim. V'loi pligi. How could he not have a machlokes? He says 2 and he says 3. Says the Gemara, Hod avad avodah shu kohen hedyot, Hod lo avad avodah shu kohen hedyot. Says the Gemara, tremendous chiddush. If a kohen gadol, he's a young guy, he's never performed avodah in the Beis Hamikdash, straight from bar mitzvah, the chat is a gadol, you'll be the kohen gadol. Or maybe he paid money to be a kohen gadol. But he's never performed that avodah before, so he's never brought a minchas chinuch of his own as a kohen hedyot. So today, his first day as a kohen gadol, he has to bring 2 minchas chinuchs, one for the kohen hedyot that he is, and one for the kohen gadol that he's now starting also. And he has to bring a 3rd carbon, his regular minchas chavitin that every kohen gadol brings every day. So he has to bring 3 esronim. Don't think for a second that his kohen gadol minchas chinuch is going to pattern from the kohen hedyot minchas chinuch. It's 2 separate minchas chinuchs. Says the Gemara, Nizirus oisabah shtei yodes kamatah shebatoida. Nizirus only had 2 types of breads, the chalos and the retikin, toner rabbanon. Shlomov, l'rabbis, it says by the Nazir, Shlomov, l'rabbis, Shalmi, Nazir, la'aseres, kabin, Yerushalmis, u'lervi'is, shemen. So they get 10 kabim, and like we said, it's all proportionate. Toida gets 15, but the Toida is 3 types of bread. This is only 2 types of bread, so it's 10 kab, u'lervi'is, shemen. Yochol, l'chol mash omer binyin. Maybe it should also get the revucha, just like a toida. How come the nazir doesn't get a revucha? Kamaloi mar matzois. It has to be a matzah. My Talmud Omer Papa. How do you learn from that? Dovashanema by matzois. La puke revucha. The loinema by matzois. By chalois matzois, it says the word matzois. By kikin, it says matzois. Revucha is not considered a matzah. So nazir has to have something that's considered a matzah. Revucha is not a matzah. The very Rabbi Shmuel Tana, they have a different way of learning Rabbi Shmuel. It says again by nazir. It says matzois. Klal, chalois rekikin prat, klal prat, in baklal, el masha beprat, chalos rekikin in, midi achrin eloi. It's a limud of klal prat to exclude the revucha. Says the Mishnah, Daf Ayin Ches Amud Beis, top of the page, brand new Mishnah, brand new Perek, brand new Sechta. We have here, I don't know if you'll be able to see. This I printed at 9:07. So, whatever, it's a little small and it's not. The kids, we have 2 psukim here that teach us. What does the pasuk say? There's a lot of, as the Gemara is going to explain, this we're going to see in the Gemara. Al chalos lechem chometz again. Al chalos lechem, and over here it says Al zevach hatoyda chalos matzis b'lu b'shemen. There's a lot of extra here. We learn out from here that the lechem and the zevach go together. In other words, I do shchita, I mekadesh the bread. When does the bread become kadosh? Al zevach. It has to do with the zevach. Says the Mishnah. Hashoichet is atoyda lefnim. If you do the proper thing with the toida, you do the shchita to the toida. Where do you do the shchita? Always in the azara. You did it where it's supposed to be great, but there's a problem. But the bread is beyond the wall. The Gemara is going to say which wall, but it's not in the azara. It wasn't together like Kodesh Alechem. So basically, the Mishnah is saying that this chiddush of the Torah, that the shechita causes kedusha in the bread, is when the bread is somewhat in the proximity of the zvicha, maybe. Shchata, actually, kormu poneo batanur. What if you did shchita, but the bread is still baking in the oven? It's not really baked. So if it turns it browned or whatever, the kormu poneo became bread. You see it looks like bread. Then vafilu kormu kulam chutz me'echol mehem lo kodesh alechem. So all of them have to be kormu poneo. It has to be some shear of bread. Stam in the oven, half baked or whatever it is. Not korban ponel doesn't count as bread, and the shechita is not going to help it. It has to be bread.
When you put it in the oven and it's finished, it's still okay.
It has to be not totally korban ponel.
Has to be enough cooked so it's considered.
And we're going to see how baked it has to be. Menachos, we're going to see. The Gemara discussed. Menachos lachoima. So the Mishnah started off saying that if the bread is out of the choima, then the bread it doesn't become kaddish through the shechita. Menachos lachoima, which choima Rabbi Yochanan Omar, chutz lachoima is beis pagi. I don't know if you remember, we had in this Masechta the concept of beis pagi outside of Yerushalayim. So Rabbi Yochanan says it has to be completely outside of Yerushalayim. Rish Lakish Omar chutz lachoima is hazara. If it's not really completely next to the zvicha, to the zevach, the karban, the shechita, then it's not considered next to it, it's not considered part of it, and the shechita doesn't help it. Since the Torah says al, and we had that also, what does al mean? Does it mean literally on top of or next to? But over here, Rish Lakish is saying it needs to be next to. So it has to be within the azara. You don't need next. Says the Gemara, why do I have to come in our sugya and say the same machlokes that we already had before? This is not. So the halacha is, it says in the pasuk, Lo sishchat al chometz dam zivchi, lo yol maboiker zevach chagafos. What is this pasuk saying? You're not allowed to shecht the korban pesach when you have chometz. If you have chometz, you're over on a lav. Nothing to do with what's the lashon of not having chometz? No. Yeah, close. Le'ira v'le'imotza. Fine. Over here it's another thing. If you shech the korban, by shechting the korban and owning chametz, it's bad. You get a lav. Says the Gemara, what? Erev Pesach. Yeah, but why? When you shecht it, b'shas shchita? No, after. As Rabbi Yehuda. Well, now, you see, what would you have done if you didn't come to Daf Yomi? Mashiach comes, you start messing up. You start doing beer after this. It's terrible. I saved your life. Misa. And you're going to say, Shogi, get in? No, if you don't come to the Daf. It's Shogi Karv amazing. Fine. Says the Gemara, you have a way out of it. Says the Gemara, Rabbi Yehuda Omer, listen to this. Afat Tomid. This pasuk is talking about a korban Pesach. Says Rabbi Yehuda, if you shech the Tomid of that day, of the Tomid ben Arbayim, of Erev Pesach, when you own Chometz, bad news. So here's the machlokes, the same exact machlokes we just said. Before there's tzricha, I would do that, jump to the next thing, but I have to read it. Anybody doing one of the major avodas, he has to have the chometz with him inside the azara. Everyone says, what shayches? Chometz is chometz. If you own it, it doesn't matter where it is.
Each of them have a chometz.
Yeah, and that's what the Gemara is going to say. Tzricha. Didmer bahi amar Rabbi Yochanan de kol echad isibi surkoi. Chometz has nothing to do with being in the azara, not the azara. If you own chometz, you own chometz. It has nothing to do with where it is. So if you own it, you get an iser. Mikdash lechem. But in order to be mekadesh the bread, that it has to be next to it, that makes sense. I need it to be in the proximity of my carbon. This is b'fnim kadosh. Abroi loy kadosh. If it's inside, it's kadosh. Outside, it's not kadosh. And then you just reverse it. Now it says mamish mefurish like the shita of Rabbi Yochanan. Shoichet es hatoyda lefnim v'lachma chutz l'choyma beis pagi. Now over here it says mefurish that the lechem is outside of Yerushalayim loy kodesh halechem. But if it's inside Yerushalayim, even though it's outside of the Azara, not like Rish Lakish, it would be kadosh. Says mamish.
Talking about that wall that we had, where you had the little pin where you can see through. Remember in the whole base of Mikdash?
The Beis Pagi is one of the exterior walls of the Yishuv Yerushalayim.
You have places where
I don't remember.
them can't go in. So instead, you have to watch your offering through like.
No, that's in the Beis Hamikdash. That's in Har Bayis. We're talking about Yerushalayim. More like the wall, so to speak, of what we have today. Not really, but like. No, this is Shiloh. Look at the other. Which Rashi you looking at? Yeah. So I don't know. Look at the other one. By the way, he's not so fake because when they quote him, the Rishonim quote him as if the real one, and even Rav David was quoting him. He was completely ignoring the Ksav Yad that Rashi is saying completely. Fine. Yeah, he's definitely a Rishon, and I think they consider him more of a Rashi than the Ksav Yad Rashi. Fine. Yeah, it's Shiloh what it is. That's how we learned that it means outside. Look at the other Rashi. I'm pretty sure this Rashi doesn't say that. That it's out of Yerushalayim. Oh, who says that? The bottom one? See? Chutz l'choyim v'chitzon Yerushalayim. Yeah, that we had Beis Pagi just a few daf ago. I don't remember where, like 10, 15 daf ago. Different Masechta. Fine. Says the Gemara. Shechota actually kormo poneh batanur. Vinani mili the Torah Rabbanon al chalois lechem chometz yakriv korbonoi al zevach. Milamei chen al lechem kodesh elam kein kormo poneh batanur. A chalois lechem. It has to be a chalo. It has to be lechem. It has to be some sort of shir kormo poneh. Yakriv korbonoi al zevach. Over here, this is interesting. Korbonoi over here is referring to the bread. Yaakov Karbana, you're makriv the carbon of the bread al zevach milamei chen alechem kodesh ela b'shchitas zevach. It's moiridik. Karbana al zevach. The bread it becomes kodesh through the shchita of the carbon. Zevach toidas, which would mean the zevach when you bring the carbon it has to be. It's like almost you put a lamed over here. Litoidas. You have to have kavana for the toida. So remember this, because we're going to have this soon as well. That you have to have, not pigul, this is lishma. Lishma means, this is the first Mishnah Menachos, so I don't expect whoever started Menachos and also the first Mishnah is Zvachim, same thing. That you have to have lishma by the carbon, meaning that you have to think that this is a carbon toida, and if you think for a second that you're bringing, let's say, a chatos, so it's no good as a toida, you still can continue to bring it. There's a few exceptions, a chatos, if you change a chatos or whatever. But when it comes to a toida, we're talking about a toida, so he has to have the shma. I'm bringing a toida. I'm bringing a shlomim now. And if he thinks to himself, I'm bringing a oila, then it's not a good toida. What? And the lechem, right, and that's what we're talking about. That the lechem is not good because obviously you can't bring bread with the oil. Let's say, I mean that's not the reason, but the point is, loy kodesh lechem. The lechem is not kodesh. Torah Rabbanan. Yoitzim b'matzano. So we mentioned the karmu poneo, the shear of lechem. So says the Gemara that you on Pesach, if you have matzah that's raw, you yoitza. Ubematzah asuya beilfos. And the Gemara is going to explain what raw means. And if matzah was made in a pan, what? That's chametz. We're worried about chametz. So you worried about chametz? There's no chametz here because it's baked. It's baked, but it's not. Yeah. My matzah no. Or Rabbi Shmuel kol sheparso v'yichudim nimshachim mimeno. If you break it and you pull it apart, it doesn't have strings still attached to it. It breaks cleanly, so that means it was baked. If you take dough and you pull it, it's stringy. So at a certain point, those strings stop. Whenever those strings stop, that means you baked it. The same halacha applies to the bread of a toida, that if there's no strings, it's considered bread. Pshita. What is he saying? Hacha lechem ksiv, and the Gemara even says it's not pasha misvar, it's pasha because there's even a pasuk. Hacha lechem ksiv, v'hacha lechem ksiv. They're both considered bread. And if you say the halacha by matzah that once there's no strings, it's considered lechem moini. So over here by toida also it should be considered lechem. Now the same echad amar achmana. It says we had the pasuk a few times echad, and what does echad mean? Whole. Shelo yital parus. V'kaman the priest of damya kamash malon. I'll think, listen, even though there's no strings, but at the end of the day, it's raw. It's not yishmak of bread. So I'm not going to consider this echad. I'm not going to consider it a whole bread. This is not a whole bread. Something's missing from this bread. Namely, that it's not baked very well. Kamash will know, once there's no strings, it's still considered baked. Itmar. Toida sheshchot al shmoinim chalos. Givaldik. What does it mean? Nu Gershon, what does it mean he baked 80 instead of 40?
Too many.
But he took the dough and instead of making 40 he made 80? Yeah. No, that'll be kosher. That'll be kosher. He doubled the amount of dough. I just want to make sure that we understand this. Because if you take 40 chals, you make 80. So okay, so you didn't make the right shear, but you have the right amount of dough here, so that's not the problem. The problem is that I have double the amount of dough. I have double the amount is double. I need more people to eat it. As is, I can't eat it. I have to bring all my friends. Now I have to bring double the friends. It's a bayah. What? Oh, well, that's the Gemara Shiloh. Chizki Omar Kochu Arba Mitach Shmoinim. Chizki says not a problem. 40, we're going to say 40 are kosher, are kadosh. And 40 are not. They're all garbage. If a person says specifically, I want the 40, only 40 out of 80 to be Kaddish, the rest don't have to be Kaddish. Kachu, then of course it's Kaddish. I don't know. I don't specify. We're going to see soon. We're going to see in a second something else. Al yigdashu arbaim elam ken yigdashu shmoinim. If he says specifically, I want all 80, loy kachu. Ki pligi bistama. The whole machlokes is if he doesn't specify exactly. Mar sovar lachrayes komachavin. If you hold that what was his intent? His intent was just to make sure that if something gets lost, he has backup. Umar sovar lekorban gadol komachavin. If he's machavin for big carbon, that's no good. Wow, a rat just walked in here. It's right behind you. Disgusting.
Just at the door.
Okay. It was this big. It's right. It went behind.
Okay, I didn't mean to.
Okay. Fine.
We got a picture of that rabbi. He probably went down there.
Had no. You didn't hear the noise? He made a. I heard a little noise. I looked down and it was black, very black. Okay. So where we're holding. If he said a carbon gadol, maybe I was saying wrong shot here. If he said carbon gadol, I want a big carbon, so it's no good. But if he says I just want achrayis, I want backup, then it's good. Let's look in Taisus for a second. The last Taisus, Likdishu, Arboy Mitach Shmainim. Avagav de Rabbi Yochanan, unless they breira. So this is what you guys were saying before. This is the concept of breira. And breira means that I just say I want 40 out of the 80, and the Torah will figure out by itself which 40 they are. I don't have to specify. I don't need to know which they are, which ones they are. It's breira. Will be mevarer. It will become clear. Halachically, it will become clear which 40. It's in there. I don't know which one. It's in there. So, but Rabbi Yochanan doesn't hold of this. Over here's a little different. Is something going on? You still nervous? Yeah? I can't. I'm just picking like in the middle of the thing. It'll be like one of those, like YouTube. I always wanted to be on YouTube. have a lot. Not like this. I didn't want this way. Yeah. Ukshaba. Yeah. My sister Shahaya, when I was a kid, this is how my father became famous in Bnei Brak. We were sitting in Ramat Chanan, Reb Zilson Shul. There's like 350 mispalim there. It's a massive shul, still there to this day in Chav Zonenfeld in Ramat Chanan. So I was playing with my friends outside. All of a sudden, this cat starts walking up the stairs. Now you go over a cat, you go, and it runs away. This cat, no, he starts walking. So we start going in front of it, kicking it, nothing, beeline. Now you can in Ramat Chanan, you can make a left, you go into the Timani shul. You make a right, you go into the Sephardi shul, and you continue, you go into the Chassidish shul. If you continue weiter and you go up the stairs, you go into the Litvish shul. There's 4 shuls in one building. He continues, and we're chasing, and we're kicking in sticks, muktzah, the whole thing, nothing. He makes a right turn, goes up the shul, and he's not pausing for a second. Gets to the top, he makes another right, goes straight down, keeps on going straight, makes a left, goes up 6 rows, makes another left, stops, grabs my father's towel, starts schlepping my father's towel. So my father put his towels like this, and continued diving, and a second later, his towels falls off. He's playing with the strings like a snake. He puts it back on, and he looks down, and he sees this cat in the middle of shul, it's like Musaf on the Shabbos. So he looks down, he bent down, he said something to it, like Marchayu. The cat just, again, same reverse, all the way down the stairs, out the shul, shalom. I prefer that happen to me with a cat and not a rat. On Shabbos.
That's a good story for him.
He was here, oh. That was the only true story that happened at Shabbos. I'll go on him. Listen to what Tosfos says. Let's just get to the end of Tosfos. Shabbos hafish arba chalish truma. Tzorch lavish achad esrei chalis mikol min v'min. Says Tosfos is amazing. Says Tosfos was going on here. Usually you separate 4 chalas, 1 from each min. Tosfos says now you have to separate 11. The bottom line is when you have 40 chalas and you separate 4, what are you left with? 36. Right? You have 40, you take off 4, you're left with 36. If you have 80 and you remove 44, you're going to have 36 left. What Tosfos is trying to say here is that you're doing it in a way, how do you do truma? How do you give to the kohen? If I take 1 challah from each min, maybe I'm taking the 40 that are no good. There's 40 challahs that are kadosh, 40 challahs that are not kadosh. I have no idea which ones they are because ain't breira. They're all mixed in and I have no idea. So now I'm going to take these 4 challahs and give them to the kohen. But these 4 challahs I just took might be from the 40 that are not kadosh. Says Tosfos, therefore I have to take 11 from each min and a total of 44. And then I definitely dipped in to my kadosh. I get rid of all the not good ones plus 4. And Mamela, it's a huge chiddush. That's why I said we should see inside. Says the Gemara. Abaya Omar. Depends how we. Over here it says the Kuli Alma Lachrayis Kol Mechaven. In my Gemara at least it says that, and there's a different Gersois. Rashi's Geras here. The Kuli Alma the Korban Gadol Kol Mechaven. Upon him, the point of Abaya is that there's a machlokes ubi klisharis mekachin shaloi medas kumifligi. There's a machlokes whether the klisharis, meaning the knife, is mekadesh bread without you doing anything. And if it is, then you could scream from today to tomorrow that you want 80 breads to be kadosh. The knife is mekadesh 40, and that's it. That's all that becomes kadosh here. The kli kadosh, the kli is mekadesh, and not you, not the person. The person said, I want 80 breads. He has 80 breads in front of him. He says, I want 80 breads to become Kaddish. That's not what makes it Kaddish. The knife, the shchita, the kli shares is Mekadesh the bread, and the kli shares is only Mekadesh 40. So in Mela, 40 become Kaddish, and there's no problem here. We don't care about what the person said. That's one side. Rabbi Yochanan is going to say that it's not Mekadesh. The person was Mekadesh, and he made a boo-boo. He said 80. Whether or not a klisharis can be mekadesh without your intent, without your kavana. The first man Omar holds. Reb Zera who says it? Chizkiah. That it's Mekadesh, so therefore it's Mekadesh without your das, so 40 become Kadesh, the other 40 don't become Kadesh, we don't care about that. Umar Sober, and Rabbi Yochanan says, Klisharis, a Mekadesh Shalom das, and because you ruined it, you said 80, you ruined it. So they're all no good. Of course, the regular Klisharis is Mekadesh, and it has the ability to be Mekadesh 40 out of the 80 breads. And we don't care about what you said. But what's the Klisharis by us? It's not a vessel, it's a knife. It's not a bowl, it's a knife. And Umar Sova Sakim Mekadesh is Klisharis. Umar Sova Sakim Kivin the Leslie Toich, and it's in parentheses, Edom Mekadesh Klisharis, maybe this is just one of the Masbirim, or the Mefarshim, but Akopanim, the point is, a Sakin doesn't have, it's not a Makabel. So therefore, it doesn't have the ability to be Mekadesh at all. It's nothing to do, we don't, in other words, we're not even dealing with a Klisharis that could be Mekadesh here. Usually a Klisharis could be Mekadesh, but a knife can't. Vikidamre, another pshat in the Machlokes is, Rapapa Omar, the Kuliyal me Klisharis, a Mekadshim elo midas. Everybody agrees that a Klisharis is not Mekadesh. Okay, so if it's not Mekadesh, so why does Chizkiah say that 40 breads Kadesh? But since over here we're not talking about a regular Klisharis, the opposite svara, or we're talking about a knife. It's better. Before we're saying that was worse, it's weaker because it doesn't have a toich. What we're saying a sakin is even stronger. And the other man, and Rabbi Yochanan says no, a knife is no stronger than a regular Klisharis, and a regular Klisharis is not Mekadesh, and therefore it's not Mekadesh any of the breads. Who is Mekadesh the breads? The owner, and he said 80. He ruined it. Hold on. Who's going first? What?
Isn't there a difference between Maisa and Machshava?
Yeah.
Over here, the Maisa is overriding the Machshava. We don't know what he's thinking.
Yeah, but we don't. First of all, we don't even know if the Maisa does anything.
Sure, he just says once you
But
away, whatever breads you have.
the time out. That's assuming that a Klishar is Mekadesh. So you're understanding that a Klishar is Mekadesh. But if a Klishar is not Mekadesh, what Maisa did he do? It's not Mekadesh anything. He said it should become Kadesh. It's Kadesh. But even if a Klishar is Mekadesh, he says specifically, guy is screaming, I want 80 to become Kadesh. More. Only 2 minutes. Only 2 minutes. 2 minutes. No, what were we saying? Sorry.
No, I don't know. What's the talk to say that it's Makadesh more than Klishar? Maximum it should be Makadesh like Klishar.
Because it's a better kind of Kli.
Why?
Because it does Shechita, I don't know.
It's Mekadesh even, it's a Klishar even though it doesn't have a toy. So it's a higher level.
Not a higher level. So it could be as strong as a Klishar. What is this like super Klishar?
I don't know. Says the Mishnah, Shchotash chutz lezmano v'chutz l'mkoima. Kodesh alechem. This is incredible. You could do a shchita with the wrong intent of pigul. Again, what's pigul? While he was shechting it, he said, I'm going to eat this carbon toida instead of 2 days. I'm eating 3 days, whatever the time is. 1 day, I'm doing it for 2 days. I'm going to eat it in 5 days from now. So it's pigul. And he says, I'm going to eat it chutz l'mkoima, outside Yerushalayim. Kodesh alechem. Nevertheless, even though he had these bad intentions, the breads become kadosh. It doesn't take effect on the bread. Shechata b'nintzis treifa. However, if he shechted it and you find out that the behema wasn't even a good behema to begin with, like kodesh alechem. Shechata b'nintzis balas mum. This is a huge chiddush. Treifa that has a mum that we're going to say that this animal is not going to live very long, then we say that the lechem is not kodesh. But if we shecht it and we say, oh, it's a balmum, that passes the animal, but it's not a treifa mum, then Rebbe Lezer Omer kodesh, which is different than treifa. He says different. The Gemara is going to explain why it's different. The Chachamim Omerim loy kodesh. Shchata shalei lishma. Again, what does the shalei lishma mean? He was thinking, instead of thinking to himself that he's bringing carbon taida, he thought himself he's going to bring another carbon. He's bringing an oila. V'chein eil hamiluyim v'chein shnei kivsi atzeres sheshchatam shalei lishman loy kodesh halechem. We'll stop here because it's the beginning of a big sugya. Have a great week. I'll be here tomorrow. Rabbi said tomorrow's shir is at 8:15. Unless you change the clocks, it's at 7:15. Meaning the shir is at the regular time. Just remember to change your clocks.